And now it's time to see what's coming out today for our media partner, the Baltimore Banner.
Yes, so Rick Hutzell, he's joining us now to talk about his latest column, the column about remembering Private Parker 80 years after his secret death in World War II. Rick, good morning. Who was Private Parker?
Well, Private Parker was a 24-year-old from Annapolis, and in March 1941, before World War II involved the United States directly, he went to Baltimore and enlisted. This was at a time when soldiers like Private Parker, who was black, they weren't able to have combat roles because the U.S. government felt that black people were less competent. You know, it's a shameful error in our past. Private Parker ended up going to Hawaii, where he was part of a chemical decontamination unit. And on May 21st, today, 80 years ago, 1944, he was in West Loch helping load ships for the invasion of Saipan. Something happened. No one's really sure what. Was it a cigarette that went astray? Someone was welding? Or did someone drop one of these 18-pound mortar shells they were carrying? And a lot blew up. Dozens of ships were damaged or sunk. 163 people were killed, hundreds more injured, and 59 members of the 29th Chemical Decontamination Company, including Private Parker.
Wow. And so how did his family learn of what had happened to him?
Well, they didn't. That's just it. Because this was days before the invasion of Saipan, the military decided that it would be classified as top secret. A day later, all of the ships that were left in Lock Harbor and replacements went off and invaded Saipan as part of the Northern Marianas campaign. And no one at home found out what happened to their loved ones. Someone came to the Parker household in Annapolis and said, "Your son is missing," and presumed dead. And that let them believe for years that maybe this had been a mistake. Maybe he would show up. It wouldn't be until 1962 that the Army came back, 2 years after it had been classified, and told the Parkers what had happened, or at least that their son was dead. It really was never clear to them that what had happened in West Loch.
And then what's going on today about these efforts to identify his remains using DNA?
Well, there have been a couple of books, and that's helped raise awareness. The military holds annual services. I believe they have one today in Hawaii. And, you know, there's been a lot of news lately about soldiers who were killed in America's wars in a way that left their bodies unrecoverable, being identified. You know, they're buried in an anonymous grave, and DNA from their family. But because Private Parker was 24 and was living at home and not married, he left no direct descendants. So they need someone from his nieces and nephews' lines that would have a Y chromosome, a male. The only male in that line in the next two generations on was killed by gunfire in Annapolis in 2006. So it's not clear at all that this is going to happen. But what has happened is that there has been this expansion of the family. You know, they've discovered that that Private Parker's brother had a second family that nobody knew about until his funeral. And it turns out that his father had a second family. And that's being connected through genealogy and personal interaction. Annapolis is a small town, but you can still keep secrets. And so maybe it's possible they'll be able to identify him. The family hopes.
What a story.
Whoa, I know.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Rick. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And if you'd like to learn more about this story or others from the Baltimore Banner, just head to thebaltimorebanner.com.